Hello, I'm Super Orange Cat here. I'm today reviewing Season 4, Episode 8 of Rick and Morty, entitled The Vat of Acid episode. And I'm just going to give some of my thoughts on it, some of the things I liked about it, some things I didn't like about it. I want to start with some of the things I liked about it. I love the sequence in the middle of Morty testing out all the different realities with the save spot device that he had, including especially the very long-winded one about him meeting the girl at the coffee shop, and the long-winded thing with them being trapped in the Arctic and having to find some way to survive. I thought it was hysterical too, because how he was committed to this whole thing, the relationship. Like, he could have literally quit at nearly any time, decided against it, and then when he was finally back with his loved ones at the end, how the dad, thinking that the remote that was the save point device was a changer, changed it and completely wiped everything Morty had to deal with, which I thought was a pretty good moment. And usually I dislike when shows have these long tangents. However, I did like this one because it was clearly building up to something. And another thing I liked too was the kind of just the concept of the vat of acid it being fake. And according to Rick, JACUZZI heated Mountain Dew. That was pretty funny too. And also another thing I liked was the part at the end when Morty had to face all the consequences and Rick was listing out all the different people that Morty had angered, including obvious ones like, oh, those are Me Too activists, that's the NAACP, and then some of the other ones like, wait, is that Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor? The AARP, Morty? I thought it was pretty funny, just like all the different groups he angered. Even some of this, like the ideas Morty had during his escapade with his device was funny too, including him multiple times jumping into the gorilla exhibit at the zoo. That was a standout moment for me. And overall, I just really liked those moments and the reveal at Rick towards the end that it really didn't work as a save point device. It just simply transported Morty to a parallel universe where a similar event was happening, which necessitated the killing of all the Mortys that were actually there. So Morty, all the different times he decided to save point and then go back in time, he was just killing different versions of himself. And he ultimately got Rick to just simply more or less undo what Morty did. However, it did lead to all the different people being angered and Morty having to face up to his consequences. And contrary to the quote unquote like message of the story that you have to live up to your consequences to really grow as a person, you have this hilarious ending where Rick was like, nah, screw that, just jump into the vat of acid again, which that was pretty funny. But if I had to go into some of the stuff I didn't like about this episode, not much I really didn't like up. The only thing was maybe just the beginning, the first 4 or 5 minutes of the initial vat of acid being just very long-winded, of the whole everyone having to stand around the vat of acid and talking about like just like how this like event affected them, how it traumatized them, how it really analyzed how they look at life. I thought it kind of just carried on, and that got kind of a little stale. The first, up until the commercial break, I thought this was kind of a weak episode, but the second half of the episode definitely picked up the weight, and this, I think, episode was definitely improvement off of last week's relatively lackluster episode. If I had to rate this episode, I would give this a 7.5 out of 10. What do you guys think? What's your opinions on this episode? I love reading your opinions down below. If you like this content, if you want more Rick and Morty content like this, please like, please comment, and subscribe. I'm Super Orange Cat, and that is all.